Welcome back to CBS Mornings. We now turn to Margaret Brennan's exclusive, wide-ranging CBS News interview with Vice President Kamala Harris. The vice president spoke with Margaret one day after Senator Joe Manchin said he couldn't vote for President Biden's Build Back Better plan, a major setback for the president's domestic agenda. Listen to what the vice president said about that.
Do you feel that Senator Manchin is playing fair with you? I mean, he went on television and said no, pretty definitively.
I think the stakes are too high for this to be in any way about any specific individual. We have to, you know, one of the things
it's a 50-50 Senate, though, so you
it is. I'm the tiebreaker.
Exactly.
The stakes are so high. I refuse to get caught up in what might be personal politics. When the people who are waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning worried about how they're going to get by could care less about the politics of D.C.
So you don't feel betrayed?
No, I don't have any personal feelings about this. This is about let's get the job done and talk with families who say, I can't afford to do the basic things that I need to do as a responsible adult, like care for my children, care for my older parents, or afford to get life-saving medication like insulin. We have to extend it.
How do you do that without Senator Manchin?
You don't give up. That's how we do it.
Margaret Brennan, who's moderator of Face the Nation and CBS News chief foreign affairs correspondent, joins us right now. Good morning, Margaret. Now, the vice president says they are not giving up on the president's agenda. Do they need a backup plan to the Build Back Better plan?
Or Build Back Better, as Senator Joe Manchin said, Nate, yes. Well, the vice president in our interview was very clearly trying to lower the temperature because the reality of the situation is that they cannot afford to be angry for very long. Unless the White House can peel off the support of some Republicans, they need Senator Joe Manchin. They need his vote to get virtually anything done in a 50-50 evenly divided Senate. They need all Democrats, and it is not a good look after 8 months of infighting for this to be front page news that they're having problems wrangling their own party. So they need Senator Manchin to change the tax laws, immigration, climate, and voting rights. And that is another topic that I spoke with the vice president about at length. She feels very passionately about trying to pass 2 voting rights laws at the federal level because of what's happening in at least 7 or 18 states where they're changing how to cast votes. So she emphasized that as really the biggest threat to our country on the national security front, Nate. And I thought that was very interesting at the integrity of our democracy itself. So I suspect you will hear about potential changes to how the Senate votes and their rules of engagement.
Well, she's certainly being the grown-up in the room and saying this isn't personal, because I hear a lot of Democrats, when it comes to Joe Manchin, they're very angry, and I hear a lot of why I oughta with him. So it's very interesting that they're taking that tactic. It's probably the best thing to do at this point. I know you must have talked to her about Omicron and what the White House, how they feel about it, how they're dealing with it. Are they ready for it? Because it is a mess.
It is, Gayle, and we know that it is the virus that determines the path of the economy. It may also determine the political fate of this White House. So on camera, and the vice president was very clear that they believe they are prepared for this. And our health system's prepared. But as you know, the president is going to be making this address to the public today to try to do a little bit more, whether it's at-home testing or to try to reassure the public, because they know they cannot afford economically or politically to go into another lockdown. That is another topic we talked about. You know, on the back end of this, looking at the economy, will they need another rescue package? And that brings you back again to the need to have full support in Congress, because right now, price inflation is going to continue.
Yeah, Margaret, looking overseas, there is the possibility of a war between Russia and Ukraine, and there's a question mark about how involved the U.S. would become if that happened. You asked the vice president about all of that. Let's listen and then talk about her response.
There are 100,000 Russian troops on the border with Ukraine. Yeah. Are we going to see a hot war in Europe in the next few weeks?
Well, we are having direct conversations with Russia. The president, as you know, met recently virtually with Putin. And we are very clear that Russia should not invade the sovereignty of Ukraine, that we must stand up, and we are standing up for its territorial integrity. We are working with our allies in that regard, and we've been very clear that we are prepared to issue sanctions like you've not seen before.
Does that mean sanctioning Vladimir Putin directly?
I am not going to talk about specific sanctions, but we are making that clear to him, and we are in direct conversations.
Interesting, Margaret. What do you think of that response?
Well, financial sanctions have not stopped Vladimir Putin before. So this seems to be a very direct threat in a different nature from this White House. But, Tony, I continue to hear from U.S. officials that they are very concerned that Vladimir Putin will take some action, whether it's a destabilizing cyber attack or it's actually moving those 100,000 troops across the border. So we are not out of the woods. The White House, again, made an offer to continue diplomacy with Moscow.
The vice president is never short of words, that's for sure. Margaret, thank you.